Welcome to Master Your Mind, the art of controlling your thoughts. I'm your host, and I want to congratulate you for taking this first step into a journey that might change the way you see yourself and your entire life. Most people go through their days believing their thoughts are in control, that whatever appears in the mind must be true, meaningful, or worth reacting to. But today, you're choosing something different. You're choosing to understand your inner world, to question it, and ultimately, to guide it. This audiobook is more than a lesson. It's a companion, a space for you to slow down, reflect, and begin building a healthier, stronger relationship with your mind. Maybe you felt overwhelmed by racing thoughts. Maybe doubt, fear, or old habits have shaped more of your life than you'd like to admit. Or maybe you simply want peace. Peace from overthinking. Peace from the noise. Peace from the storm inside. Whatever brought you here, you're in the right place. In this journey, we'll explore how thoughts are formed, how they gain power, and how you can finally take control of them. You will learn tools, reflections, and mental practices that anyone, including you, can begin using immediately. Some chapters will feel like deep personal awakenings. Others will feel like calm, grounding guidance. But all of them will bring you closer to a truth you may not have fully realized until now. Your mind is powerful, and you have far more influence over it than you've ever been taught. So take a breath, settle in. This is the beginning of a new inner freedom, the freedom to choose your thoughts rather than be ruled by them. Welcome to Master Your Mind. Let's begin. Before we learn techniques or strategies, we must begin with a truth that almost no one is taught. Your thoughts are the unseen force sculpting your entire life. Every emotion you feel, every decision you make, every habit you repeat, every dream you pursue or abandon, all of it begins with a thought, small, quiet, fleeting, yet powerful enough to shape your entire destiny. Most people underestimate this. They assume thoughts simply happen without purpose or influence. But thoughts are seeds. And whatever you plant in your mind eventually grows into your reality. The invisible influence. Think for a moment about how a single thought can change everything. I can't do this. And suddenly, you don't even try. What if I fail? And opportunities pass you by. Or a softer thought, maybe I'm capable of more, and a new chapter of your life begins. Thoughts are tiny messages, constantly arriving, constantly shaping the direction of your day and your life. A thought is not a command. Here is the first shift you need to understand. A thought is not a command. A thought is not the truth. A thought is not your identity. A thought is simply a suggestion. Your mind generates thousands of these suggestions every single day, some helpful, some neutral, some destructive. Yet many people live as if every thought must be obeyed, reacted to, or believed. But you are not here to remain one of those people. You are here to learn how to guide the voice within you instead of being controlled by it. Awakening to your inner world. Imagine trying to drive a car while blindfolded, unaware of the road, the direction, the dangers, or the destination. That's what it's like to go through life without understanding your thoughts. Most people live on mental autopilot. They replay old fears, old memories, old insecurities, never realizing these recycled thoughts are steering their lives. But once you become conscious, truly conscious of what's happening inside your mind, a new sense of clarity emerges. You begin to notice the patterns. You begin to hear the stories you've been telling yourself for years, and you begin to realize something powerful. You are the thinker, not the thoughts. Thoughts are weather, not the sky. Your mind has moods the same way the sky has weather. Some days your thoughts are bright and energized. Other days they feel heavy, cloudy, or stormy. But just like weather, thoughts come and go. The mistake is believing a passing storm defines you, that a bad mental day means a bad life, or that negative thoughts are permanent. They're not. And the moment you stop clinging to them, you give them permission to pass, just like clouds drifting across the sky. The power you didn't know you had. If thoughts are so powerful, you might wonder, why does it feel like I can't control them? The answer is simple. No one ever taught you how. We learn how to solve math problems and write sentences, but we are rarely taught to understand the very thing we live with every moment, our mind. But that's what this audiobook is here to give you. A guide, a manual, a step-by-step understanding of how thoughts work and how you can finally take command of them. Closing of Chapter 1. So, as you step forward into Chapter 2, remember this truth. Your thoughts shape your reality, but you have the power to shape your thoughts. This is the beginning of your mental awakening, the beginning of clarity, peace, and control. Let's continue the journey. Let's go deeper into the mind and discover where your thoughts truly come from. Chapter 2. Where Thoughts Come From. Now that you understand the incredible influence of your thoughts, it's time to explore a deeper truth. Where do your thoughts actually come from? At first glance, it may seem like thoughts simply appear out of nowhere, random, unpredictable, and uncontrollable. But nothing could be further from the truth. Your thoughts have origins, triggers, and patterns. And once you understand them, you gain power over them. This chapter will help you see your mind not as a mystery, but as a system, one you can finally begin to navigate. Your mind as a thought factory. Your mind is constantly generating thoughts, the same way the heart constantly beats or the lungs constantly breathe. It's always active, always producing. But here's the part most people never learn. Your thoughts are produced from 4 main sources: your past experiences, your environment, your beliefs, and your subconscious mind. When you understand these sources, you stop being confused by your thoughts, and you start recognizing them. Disclosure. This presentation contains affiliate links, which means I may get a commission if you purchase through them. Always consider your needs and financial situation before making a purchase. 1. Thoughts from your past. Many of the thoughts you have today were shaped years ago by childhood experiences, relationships, painful moments, victories, failures, and memories you've long forgotten. A harsh comment from a teacher, a mistake you made when you were young, a moment of embarrassment or rejection. These experiences often leave behind imprints that echo through your thoughts even decades later. You may think you're reacting to the present, but often you're responding to an old memory wearing a new mask. Understanding this helps you break free from the past and stop letting old stories write your future. 2. Thoughts from your environment. Your surroundings influence your thoughts more than you realize. Your environment, the people you interact with, the media you consume, the places you spend time in, the energy around you. If you're around negativity, criticism, or chaos, your thoughts will mirror that. If you're around peace, encouragement, or growth, your thoughts will shift toward clarity. Your environment isn't just physical, it's emotional and mental. Once you recognize how external forces shape your internal world, you begin to choose your surroundings more carefully. 3. Thoughts from your beliefs. Every belief you hold acts like a filter, and your thoughts pass through that filter before reaching your conscious mind. If you believe you're not good enough, you'll find thoughts that reinforce that belief. If you believe the world is dangerous, you'll find thoughts that confirm that fear. But if you believe you are capable, worthy, and growing, your thoughts will support that too. This means something revolutionary. Change your beliefs, and you change your thoughts. 4. Thoughts from the subconscious mind. This is the deepest source, the hidden engine behind your thought patterns. Your subconscious stores patterns you've repeated, fears you've ignored, habits you've developed, messages you believed without questioning, emotional memories that shaped you. The subconscious doesn't judge or analyze. It simply repeats whatever it has been taught. If you've spent years thinking a certain way, your subconscious continues the pattern, even when it no longer serves you. But here's the empowering part. Once you bring these patterns into awareness, you can begin to rewrite them. Why understanding these sources matters. When you start noticing where your thoughts come from, something incredible happens. You stop taking every thought personally. You stop assuming every thought is true. You stop believing every thought is you. You begin to see thoughts for what they really are: responses, echoes, reflections, not commands. This awareness gives you space to pause, question, and choose. And that pause, that moment of awareness, is where mental freedom begins. A new way to see your thoughts. From this point forward, I want you to imagine your thoughts like messages arriving at your door. Some are helpful. Some are old and outdated. Some aren't even yours. They belong to your past, your environment, or someone else entirely. You would never open the door to every stranger without thinking, so why open the door to every thought? Once you understand where a thought comes from, you can decide whether to let it in or let it pass. Closing of Chapter 2. As we move into the next chapter, hold this truth close. Every thought has a source. Every thought has a story. And once you understand that story, the thought loses its power over you. In Chapter 3, we will explore an inner voice we all experience, one that shapes our confidence, our decisions, and our self-perception. The inner critic and the inner guide. Let's continue forward. Your journey into the mind deepens here. Chapter 3. The voice in your head. Friend or foe? Inside every mind there lives a voice that comments, judges, warns, analyzes, encourages, doubts, remembers, and imagines. Some call it inner dialogue. Some call it self-talk. Some call it intuition. But whatever name you choose, it has more influence over your life than almost anything else. And here is the truth most people never understand. There are two versions of that voice: the inner critic and the inner guide. One tries to protect you through fear. The other tries to help you through wisdom. Your life depends on knowing which one you are listening to. This chapter is about learning to recognize these voices so you can stop empowering the one that keeps you small and start strengthening the one that leads you toward growth. The inner critic, the voice of fear. Let's begin with the one you're probably most familiar with. The inner critic is the voice that says, "You're not ready. You're going to fail. People will judge you. You always mess things up. Why even try?" It speaks in absolutes. It exaggerates. It repeats old fears and past failures, and its mission is simple: keep you safe, even if that safety costs your dreams. The inner critic was formed from experiences of embarrassment, rejection, comparison, or fear, moments your mind interpreted as threats. And once it formed, it started doing something predictable, trying to protect you from ever feeling that pain again. But here's the problem. The inner critic doesn't know the difference between danger and discomfort. So anything unfamiliar, growth, risk, vulnerability, opportunity, feels like a threat. And the critic speaks up, loudly. The inner guide, the voice of wisdom. But you have another voice, a quieter one, a more patient one, a voice that speaks not from fear, but from awareness, hope, and possibility. This is your inner guide. It says things like, you can grow through this. Try. Just try. You are capable. Take the next step. Trust your instincts. Your inner guide is calm. It doesn't shout. It doesn't panic. It doesn't pressure. It leads. It supports. It encourages. And while the inner critic is shaped by fear, the inner guide is shaped by truth, the deeper, quieter truth of who you really are, not who you were taught to be. Why the critic sounds louder than the guide. Many people wonder why negative thoughts scream while encouraging thoughts whisper. The reason is simple. Your brain evolved for survival, not happiness. It prioritizes fears, threats, and dangers, even imagined ones. Fear gets immediate attention. Growth does not. So the inner critic is louder, not because it's right, but because it's wired into your survival instinct. The inner guide is quieter because it speaks from a more conscious part of your mind, the part that thinks, grows, reflects, and chooses. But here's the empowering truth. The voice you feed becomes the voice you follow. If you constantly respond to the critic, it strengthens. If you start listening to the guide, it becomes louder. How to recognize the difference? Here's a simple way to tell which voice you're hearing. The inner critic creates fear. The inner guide creates clarity. The critic limits you. The guide supports you. The critic speaks from the past. The guide speaks for your future. The critic pushes you down. The guide lifts you up. Any thought that belittles, shames, or discourages you is not truth. It's fear wearing a familiar disguise. Any thought that encourages growth, patience, or understanding is your authentic self trying to break through. Diamond. You are not the critic. You are the one listening. The most important shift you can make in this chapter is realizing you are not the inner critic. You are the awareness hearing it. Your mind may generate fearful thoughts, but you do not have to live by them. The moment you witness the critic, instead of obeying it, you take back your power. Likewise, the more attention you give to the gentle, wise voice, the inner guide, the more natural it becomes to follow it. Thought control begins with knowing which voice you are empowering. Star. Closing of Chapter 3. As we move forward, remember this. You have two voices inside you, but you only have to follow one. The critic tries to protect you from life. The guide helps you grow into it. In Chapter 4, you'll learn the first practical skill of true mental mastery: awareness. the ability to observe your thoughts without judgment and choose your next step with clarity. Let's continue. The journey into your mind deepens here. Editing AHS. Chapter 4. Awareness, the first step to control. If you want to control your thoughts, there is one skill you must master before all others. A skill so simple in concept, yet so powerful in practice, that it becomes the foundation of every transformation that follows. That skill is awareness. Awareness is the ability to notice your thoughts instead of being pulled into them. It allows you to observe the mind without immediately reacting, believing, or identifying with whatever appears. You will learn something many people go their entire lives without realizing. You cannot change what you are not aware of. Diamond. The power of observation. Most people move through life inside their thoughts instead of watching them from the outside. They don't notice when fear takes over, when doubt becomes loud, or when old mental stories replay again and again. They don't see the thoughts forming. They only see the emotional reactions that come afterward. But awareness changes everything. It creates a space between you and the thought, a pause, a moment of clarity. And in that moment, you become the observer instead of the follower. You are not your thoughts. You are the one who notices them. Imagine sitting beside a river, watching leaves float past on the surface of the water. Some leaves are bright and beautiful. Some are dark and heavy. Some drift past softly. Others rush by with force. Your thoughts are like those leaves. They pass through the mind, one after another. Some are helpful, some are painful, some are neutral. But you are the one sitting on the river bank. You are the witness. You are the awareness. When you see thoughts this way, they lose their control over you. You no longer feel trapped inside them. You simply watch them come and go. This is the beginning of true mental freedom. How awareness breaks automatic patterns. Think about the last time you were stuck in a cycle of overthinking or worry. It probably felt like the thoughts had taken over, like they were running automatically. That's because they were. The mind loves repetition. It repeats familiar patterns because the brain interprets familiarity as safety, even if those patterns are negative. But awareness interrupts the loop. The moment you notice, oh, I'm spiraling again, you've already taken the first step out of it. Awareness breaks the automatic pattern. It stops the momentum. It brings you back into the present moment. And from the present moment, you can choose a different response. The practice of simply noticing. Awareness doesn't mean analyzing your thoughts. It doesn't mean judging them or trying to stop them. It simply means noticing them. For example, I'm having a worried thought. I'm thinking about a worst-case scenario. I'm replaying something from the past. I'm imagining something that hasn't happened. When you name the thought, you separate yourself from it. You step out of the story and into awareness. This simple shift, noticing instead of reacting, is one of the most powerful mental skills a human being can learn. Awareness creates choice. Without awareness, thoughts control you. With awareness, you control the thoughts. The moment you recognize a thought, you create a choice. Do I want to follow this? Do I want to let it go? Do I want to replace it? Do I want to respond differently? Awareness gives you control, not by force, but by clarity. This is why the greatest thinkers, teachers, and leaders throughout history all describe awareness as the doorway to freedom. Returning to the present. Every time you practice awareness, you return to the present moment, the only place where your mind becomes calm, open, and clear. The present moment is not where fear lives. Fear lives in the future. The present moment is not where regret lives. Regret lives in the past. The present moment is where peace lives, where clarity lives, where strength lives. When you anchor yourself in awareness, you step out of the noise of the mind and back into the calm of now. Star. Closing of Chapter 4. As you leave this chapter, remember this. Awareness is the beginning of mastery. It is the light that reveals your thoughts, so you can finally choose how to respond. In Chapter 5, we will build on this skill by learning how to reshape automatic thoughts, the patterns that have been running your life without permission. Awareness gives you sight. Chapter 5 will give you the tools to transform what you see. Let's continue.